see. Hey guys. How y'all doing? It smells like popcorn in here. Wow. I feel like I should like dance or something. I'm not going to. How are you guys doing? Awesome. You guys kept it nice and cold here. Got to see some snow. I haven't seen snow since I was like 12. My kids, we walk to school. I'm that mom. You know, we live in Los Angeles. It's like 72 degrees in the winter, and we walk to school, and my kids are like, "Oh my gosh, it's so cold." Like,
oh my gosh.
Who's like, "I used to walk to school in snow up to here," and they don't think it's very funny. But that's okay. So I'll just talk about me for a little bit, and then I'd love to open it up for questions. But I started my career when I was about 12, 13 years old. I started doing a little bit of children's theater, and I did a couple of television pilots when I was 13, and I did 2 pilots. Neither one of them got picked up, but it got me interested in this business of television and show business. And then I was scouted in a shopping mall with my mom by a modeling agency, and they, asked me if I was interested in modeling, and I thought they were really creepy. I was like, yeah, what do you want from me? And like 4 months later, I was living in Tokyo, and I was working as a fashion model, and that kind of took over for a long time, and I did that for several years. And I moved quite a bit all over doing that, and then I wound up in Texas, of all places. And this was the time when Austin was really coming up, and a lot of movies were being made in Austin. So I made a bunch of movies in Austin, and that took me to Los Angeles. And then I started my career in television. So I've been mostly working in television since I moved to LA. And I also have 4 kids. So I built my careers, I built my family, and I don't really know one without the other, and it works out really good for me. So currently, I just finished my reign as the Queen of Hell on Supernatural. That was fun and totally unexpected. Like when I got the audition for that job, my initial reaction, I got it, on my phone and my email, and I was like, Supernatural? That show's still on? And it was like season 8. And again, my reaction for that is because if there's a show that I'm right for demographically, I should have read for it several times already. And this was the first time I'd ever been in that room. So I don't know if I was like pregnant all those years. It must have been the case that I hadn't had the opportunity to read for it. But I'm glad they waited for this long to bring about this amazing character, because I really loved playing her. I don't think they expected her to be so popular. They killed me off in the first episode. Sorry if you haven't watched it, but you're a little behind. And then they kept killing me. I told them they should keep me around for their therapy. They could call me bad names and burn me and get out all their mommy issues on me. I'm still hoping that'll work. I'm like, you could bring me back and then kill me again. Because no one ever dies on Supernatural. Anyways, I'm sure you guys have questions, like what's it like to work with Jensen and Jared? I get that one a lot. They're dreamy. It's hard to go to work, let me tell you. And then there's Mark Shepherd. I've known Mark for years. I love Mark Shepherd. I met him on this circuit. I did a little show called Painkiller Jane, a little show called Stargate Universe, and Smallville. And so I like to say I've earned my geek cred, and I've traveled quite a bit doing these types of things. So I've known Mark for years, and then I got to work with him, and it's been really fun. And now we duke it out and at these things. It's good times. So I'd love it if you guys would ask some questions. The mic is right here. Don't be shy, only bite a little. Be shy in a scene or anything. And I'm hoping that I get to come back and work with him as Cass. I don't know how we would ever work together.
I met as a director, him directing you, yeah.
Yes, I was getting to that. So the nice thing about working on a show that's been going on for so long is a lot of times as the cast, gets more seasoned in negotiations, they add director to their credits or producer to their credits. So I've seen this on Smallville, for example. Tom Welling directed a handful, and I was there when Allison Matt directed her first episode, and they really encouraged her and supported her to do that. Robert Carlyle on Stargate Universe directed one in our second season. Of course, Jensen directs a lot. I was able to work with Misha on his directorial debut for this show, and so it's really beautiful to see this family, because it is a family. When you walk on set, there's 200 people that work together every day, and they've known each other for 10 years. And to see everyone's support and stand behind one of their own is really an amazing opportunity to see that. So I think he was very prepared. He was a little nervous. He did great. He did great, and I was really happy. That episode was a lot about my backstory, so I felt really honored that he got to direct that one. And again, just to sort of see that camaraderie and that family unit come together was really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. There were times it was really funny. The one scene on Mother's Little Helper was the episode, and we had this long Henry and Josie walk up the stairs, and it's this long shot. I think it took us all day to get that shot. And at one point, like, Misha and I are just talking, and the AD comes over, and he's like, "So we've got to get it from this angle and that angle and this angle." And he's like, "Oh my gosh, there's so much work to do." So sometimes you forget as an actor, you know, you go back to your trailer and everybody else is working, and when you're the director, you don't really stop working. So it's a big change in pace. Question? Come on over. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Big fan. If you could go back to any season, any character, who would you be, male or female?
Any season of Supernatural? Any character in Supernatural? I think my character's pretty awesome. I don't think I'd change it. Who would you be?
I'd probably have it on. She's like one of my favorite characters. She was pretty badass.
Good choice. Yeah, no, I mean, I feel really lucky to have played such a great character. I think she's been fun. I think there was more story to tell. I was a little upset that they shut it down so early, and I don't know. I think there's a lot of storyline to tell with Josie as well. So I feel like there's more story to open up that way. But it was fun while it lasted, for sure. Hi.
Hi. So you mentioned exploring Josie's backstory. I was just wondering, if you get a chance to come back, where would you like to go? Would you like to maybe explore Abaddon with Cain, that whole Knights of Hell thing? Or would you maybe like to focus on Gil's character and your character, more of Josie's backstory again? Where would you like to take that avenue?
I think either storyline would be great. Obviously, we couldn't do both; it would be confusing. But or not at the same time, anyway. I thought Dean was coming to the dark side for me. I was like, it'll be me and Dean, and we'll rule the world. No, I think that's an interesting storyline, but I do feel like, even with Crowley, to keep him around so long, you have to have human characteristics. Otherwise, you don't attract. There's no depth. And so I feel like level-wise and layer-wise as an actor, it's more fun to play with those layers. And so Josie, to me, would be a more interesting storyline. That and she and Gil's, their storyline brought about this whole men of letters, or which has, become women of letters, which has been really interesting. So there's that whole storyline that I think is really, got some legs, and it's lent itself to the last season or so of the show. So yeah, if Josie came back, I feel like maybe she could help the guys with all of that knowledge that she has. And again, just has more layers in terms of human qualities. She's not quite as badass, but that's okay. But she's also, Adam Glass wrote my character, and he wanted her to be, she sort of was at this height of, or she felt being possessed by Abaddon gave her this sort of feminist, freedom to break the glass ceiling and to be in sort of the boys' club. And that's sort of what she was dealing with as being the only woman in the Men of Letters and all of that. And I think that was an ode to the fandom who has, the strong feminist roots. So that was definitely a shout out to you guys. Who's next? Oh, it's okay. We'll get to you. That's okay. Hi.
what was your favorite episode of the film, and can I have a hug?
My favorite episode to film. I loved Mother's Helper for the reason that it was Misha's directorial debut. Trying to think what other. I definitely didn't like dying. I got that script and I was like, man, again. Yeah, I would say Mother's Little Helper for that reason. And also that it was Josie's backstory and Abaddon's backstory, and it was a lot more centered around my character instead of sort of me coming in for a little, scene here and there. There's a lot more to do. Thanks. Hey.
How was it to come on and be such a strong character right off the bat, a knight of hell? Most people, they kind of had to work their way towards, except Lucifer, like Yellow Eyes, he kind of had that build-up, but you just came on and everyone was instantly afraid of you, and then you were fighting to become the king of hell. How was it to be such an empowering character right off the bat?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, I tend to play these sort of strong female characters. I think it's because I'm tall. They're like, there's a tall chick, let's make her powerful. And then there's tall guys on the show, so I can fight them. I don't know, it's really interesting that, to come on and be an, instantly strong female character to, I don't take any credit for that. I mean, that's the way she was written, and I'm totally different than her. Like, I walk differently when I'm her, I talk differently. I always feel like there's a battle for who can talk the lowest on that show. Like, you call action, and all of a sudden, all of us are like this. What's going on here? What just happened? Dean's got this Batman thing going on. Yeah, and Mark gets all gravelly, and I'm like, okay, I gotta take it down a few notches. So that maybe lends to that strong female character there, but it was fun. I mean, I have no complaints. Who's next? Hi.
Alright, so besides you, who's your favorite character?
Who's my favorite character? Crowley? Did someone just say Crowley? I like Crowley. I'm gonna watch the show one day. Between 4 kids and a husband, I never get the TV. So I haven't really watched the show other than when I live tweet, so sometimes I catch an episode here or there. I think all the characters are amazing. When you have a show that's gone on so long and you get to really develop characters, Jared and Jensen and Mark and Misha, they all know their characters so well. And what happens in this sort of organically what happens with these character developments is the writers get to know the actors and they start to hear it in their heads as they're writing, and they get to know the fandom. Did you guys watch the 200th episode? That was amazing, and that was Robbie's shout out to the fandom, because he's one of you guys. And I mean, I don't watch the show, and I got everything on that episode. I laughed my butt off. It was so funny, and it was just all sort of the fan stuff. So, what was the question? My favorite character. I'm gonna watch the show and I'll get back to you. Maybe I'll choose Cass. Everyone loves Cass, right? Meg's a fan favorite. Crowley, that guy. What's going on over there?
It was awesome to see her.
Right. So you guys gotta scream. Well done.
So when you finally watch the show with your kids, what do you think the reaction will be when they see you as Abaddon?
Oh, I think we're a few years off. My oldest is 10. Although my nieces just started watching it. They're 13 and 15. They just started watching it on Netflix, and all of a sudden I'm really cool to them. They're like, what? You're on Supernatural? So they live in Manchester, so I'm going to Wales next weekend. and I'll be able to see them, and they're going to come with me to an event. So I'm a little afraid. I have to tell them to like tone their fangirl down. But I don't know what's going to happen when my kids watch the show. I'm not sure that they will. Immediately anyways. By the time they do, it'll be like vintage. It'll be like, oh, I guess that old-fashioned show mom's on. Although my son, his new favorite, he's my oldest, Elijah, his new favorite saying is, he'll be like, holy queen of hell. And I can't even get mad at him. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Just don't tell your friends. Okay, do you have a question?
Actually, we were wondering either now or at the end if you would take a selfie with us.
Sure, let's do it. I'm gonna start something. Awesome. Selfies. You know what's funny? Now when people take pictures, they don't count because everyone's like used to taking selfies. So like someone takes a picture of you and it's just like snaps it. I'm like, did you take it? There was no 1, 2, smile. None of that. Hi. Wait, you didn't have a question, right? It was just a selfie. Okay. Thought I missed something.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to switch gears real quick. I was a huge fan of Stargate Universe.
Yeah.
Do you think at the end, it kind of ended abruptly, do you think the characters ever got to wake up from stasis, or do you think they just kind of keep going?
You know, so Stargate Universe, there was kind of this perfect storm of what could go wrong. MGM went bankrupt, and there wasn't a lot of great relationship, I think, between the studio and the network. And so when it came time to making things work, it just didn't. Brad Wright, the creator of the show, he did write a movie to follow up. He wrote a few more episodes, given if we were granted a few more episodes to finish up the storyline, and it just never ended up happening. But there was a huge outcry, and because of that, Eureka got a finishing, and other shows got their own, Warehouse 13 got their sort of wrap-up season. Because I think people don't like when it's like a cliffhanger, right? From what I understand, the characters wake up. I would hope so. And I don't know where they end up, but I think there was so much more story to tell. We were all really sad. Do you want to know how we found out the show was canceled? This is the best. So I was invited by the Navy to go spend a night on the USS Carl Vinson off of the San Diego coast. And it was me and a bunch of other cast members and some of our producers. And we were distinguished guests on this aircraft carrier, and it was amazing. And so we were out to sea, and we had no internet or anything on our phones. So we landed back on the base, and we all turned our phones on, and my Twitter like blew up. It was like, I'm so sorry, and I'm like, sorry for what? And our show was canceled, and that's how the creator of the show, who made 17 seasons of Stargate, found out his show was canceled. Right? Kind of cheeky. Yeah, so that sucked. It was like a week before Christmas. But that's okay. It was fun. We weren't as embraced. Our Stargate Universe show wasn't as embraced by the fandom initially. And that, it was weird. We'd go to work and people were like protesting us. And they were like, we hate you, go home.
Oh.
But we had fun, and we really liked it. So it was fun while it lasted. Thank you. Hey.
Wondering what was it like when you had to shoot the scene where you were stabbed by the first blade in the air?
That was a really long scene when that gnarly blade. Have you seen that thing? That thing has teeth. You have one. That thing is nasty. It is just not right. And I like how she prefaces the scene by saying like, nothing can kill me except the first blade. And then the first blade kills her. Combined with the mark of Cain. So that was a long day. I mean, I got picked up at like 4:30 in the morning that day, and I think I wrapped at 10 p.m., and that's all we shot that day. It was a really long day, and it involved wires, and it became really cumbersome. A lot of times in these shows, we deal a lot with effects and green screen and things like that. And normally they're fairly flawless, and we sort of just keep it going. But this became really cumbersome, and at one point it's like, it's all sort of 3-second delays. It's like, and now, and then they lift me up, and then, Jensen's got the handle, and at one point they were on my back, and I was on the cables, and so we have the cables, and it's on Jensen's coverage. So I'm like got my elbows out so the camera can get through the wires and see Jensen. And at one point the director was like, you're getting stabbed, it should hurt. I totally forgot to act in the scene because it was so technical. So Jensen was like, you know what, let's take you off the wires. Just stand on an apple box and I'll stab you and you can rise up. And that's what we did. So sometimes we overcomplicate it and we can really just act it. That's what we do. So it was fun. It was a little exhausting, but it was very bloody. And yeah, it was fun. Thanks. Bye. Yeah. She cut her face off. What are you gonna do with that? Paint the other half in. Hi. Come on over.
Got kind of like a layered question. So
Okay, I like layers. This is a test.
one who gets painting is obviously from art, and is there a possibility of transferring art using angelic rays to doing an angel, or overall probably how they as the art in the show of Rosie Doors that painting?
I didn't watch the show. What do you think?
Eventually they're going to have to bring in the whole Cain-esque guy, pretty much, for Dean, so probably that's the way. That eventually Dean will probably have to come over that either Cain's going to be really pissed off and kill somebody, or the fact is Cain's going to kill himself.
Oh my.
And the blades and evil again, or the demon, or they're going to use angelic rays to see how that is.
Are you guys all up with this? Yeah, you guys like this? I'll pass it on to the writers. My mom's calling me. Hi.
So if SGU had a third season, what would you have wanted to happen to TJ? And my second question, if you were going to star in a superhero movie, who would you want? Which superhero would you want to play ideally?
So if Stargate went another season, I learned a lot from TJ. She was a really important character for me to play. I used to get really annoyed with her because she was always kind of whiny. I was like, she's a military person. I always felt like she cried. I used to call her Crybaby. It's like every episode they'd write me and she's like, and TJ's so overwhelmed.